Hi everyone, my name is Jane Kyle and I'm with Member Experience, and joining me is Theresa Dubio, also of Member Experience, and we're with you today to talk about the cultural driver of building collaborative relationships. So during our time together, each of us will share what it means to each of us, and then also we'll share an experience of building collaborative relationships, whether we witnessed it or experienced ourselves. And then also we'll share with you some of the challenges that each of us face in building collaborative relationships. And to start us off, Theresa.
Thanks, Jane. You know, when you think about building collaborative relationships, to me, it's really connecting with a person. So connecting means, sharing ideas, sharing thoughts. I think the biggest part of it is also listening to hear what they're saying, not listening to respond, and really connecting with that person authentically. So it's not about a topic or solving a problem, but are you hearing what they're saying? Are you really connecting on how you're coming together on a topic? And so when I think of building collaborative relationships, it's really very personal, and it's really taking it to heart on how you connect with a person. And you'll see, as Jane and I talk about it, there's a lot of great connections and where you really hit it off and the conversation gets exciting. And then there's times where you're challenged, right? You're challenged with maybe what the topic or the conversation's about, and you have to go deeper and ask more questions and really search to understand how can you get on the same page. So to me, it's really about connecting and about listening. And so that's where I always start when I'm building a relationship. Jean, how about you?
Thanks, Theresa. When I think about building collaborative relationships, and first of all, this driver really resonates with me because it is about people. And I love working with people. I love getting to know people. And I think that's foundational to building a collaborative relationships. It really begins with trust. And as Theresa also mentioned, it's doing a lot of listening at the same time. I know sometimes, and I've experienced over the last several years, that when you're in certain roles or positions that sometimes, you think you know everything and you really don't. And I probably learn as much or more from everyone at Lake Trust just by doing a lot of listening, walking around. I think that's really essential. And it's also about sometimes those difficult conversations that really need to happen and that you need to have. I want to leave you with a quote that I recently saw that reminds me of what building collaborative relationships is about. And growth is not by mere chance, but it's the force of people working together. And I think that's really what it's about. It's everyone working together to be the best they can be.
So when we look at where we experience it, I think really resonates with that quote, people working together. So you see our members come into the branch or call us, and we really seek out what they need. And it's not a need necessarily financially, but what do they need in life? Again, it's connecting with the member, figuring them out a little bit deeper. What's happening in their family? What's happening with their job? How can we be a good listener? And sometimes that's not a solution. It's being the best listener and just giving them someone that they can confide in. So we see it when we connect with our members, and I think you also see it as we go out into the community. And I think building collaborative relationships, when we hug our business partners that just did a ribbon cutting, or we go to a chamber event and we celebrate what's happening and you see handshakes and hugs, I think that speaks louder than words. That's a collaborative relationship where you've gotten so close to someone that you're celebrating their story, celebrating their success. So although we see it every day throughout all of our interactions, I think that's just two examples, both from a member perspective and from a community, where you can see us really getting close to people and understanding their life, their journey, and what they've experienced, and us helping them celebrate or helping lift them up to get them to where they'd like to be.
I want to touch on the experiences of the collaborative relationships internally, and where I've witnessed it and been a part of that experience is I look around the organization and some of the teams that we have, thinking about our digital team and our business intelligence teams and how each of those groups and individuals have worked collaboratively to really make Lake Trust a better organization. A recent experience is when the business intelligence team collaborated with the member support team of the operations area within member experience. And they worked through a process improvement for the betterment of our membership report. And this really saved a lot of time throughout. But I think more importantly, it was really sharing the ideas, working together, getting the feedback from each other, and doing so collaboratively, and at the same time pushing back when needed. Another experience that I personally have had and continue to have is working with a small team, which actually Theresa is a part of, with a branch channel plan. It's a very small, diverse team, but what is so wonderful about that, everyone brings a different perspective. We're not afraid to push back on each other. And truly, I do a lot of listening within that group because we've got some great, bright minds working together. But I think that's all part of building a strong collaborative relationship. I know from my perspective and personally that where I find challenges is that I am normally a glass half full type of person. And you know, part of building collaborative relationships is having those difficult conversations too. And it starts with heart, of course, but it's also about the business relationship. And, you know, I'm going to be honest that I struggle with it at times, but at the end of the day, you know, I always ask myself, did I do the right thing? And that's what it's about too. It's about being honest and transparent. And do I have to self-check every so often? Absolutely. But I think it's having and getting the feedback from your team, asking for that feedback. How did I do? And reaching out to those that you trust to give that feedback around, you know, being honest and transparent and dealing with conflict is really important as well. So that kind of concludes our time with you today. However, we're not done. Because you're going to hear more throughout the month from some other members of the Lake Trust team. And I'm going to turn it back to Theresa to share what's next in store.
We're excited to have some of our teammates join us to really share their story on what building collaborative relationships are. So over the next 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have small video snippets of your teammates sharing their experience, their take on collaborative relationships, and you'll hear from many voices in the organization on what building collaborative relationships means to them. So stay tuned. It's a great journey to watch, and at the end of the journey, Jane and I will be back to wrap it up.